So our next speaker, I've known for quite a while. Vince is actually he's been quite active through the community, and actually really helpful for me. I know he's come out and provided some feedback on some work I've done in the past, and also when we were part of we were both in the public sector. I know it was just a fun guy to talk to, but this year he came out to Fanalytics at TC, and he gave a presentation that was it was so inspiring. The energy in the room was just amazing, and I think you set up perfectly for the rest of Fanalytics. Vince has been pretty much within the BI journey about 7 years. He's a member of the Twin Cities Tableau user group. He's just an excellent guy, but I'm going to turn this over to him so he can kind of tell you a little bit more and tell you 120,536 reasons to love Tableau. I don't know how you can just do that, but welcome, Vince.
Thank you, Caesar, very much. I will share my screen here. Bear with me just a sec. Hi, everybody. Can you see my slide?
Yes, indeed.
Okay. So thanks again, Caesar, for the awesome introduction. Like you said, I've been in the data space for about 7 years. I've been using Tableau for about 4 of those. And it's such a unique community, and that there is this incredible sense of everybody wanting to help each other out. And as soon as I started seeing evidences of that, I knew that it was something that I wanted to be a part of in every way that I possibly could. So today, I wanted to share my experience with Tableau, its community of users, and the incredible way that it helped redefine my idea of what it means to be successful. But before I begin, I'd like to share a story with you that I think might help explain a little bit about my personality. I'm very much the kind of person who commits 100% to any new thing that I'm currently interested in. So let me get this going. So when I was a kid, maybe 7 or 8 years old, I first learned about prank calls on a TV show that I was watching over the summer. Now, I thought the idea was hilarious, but I was a little too shy to try out my terrible jokes on the unsuspecting. So I talked it over with my younger sister, and we decided that the best course of action would be for me to call a 1-800 number that we had seen on a TV commercial and ask if they could send some free information to our house. Now, this was summer, so I really had nothing else to do but to jot down the first 1-800 number that I saw on TV. But like I said about the commitment thing, I didn't want this to just be a one-time thing. Like, this was my mission. My summer now had a purpose. So I proceeded to write down every single 1-800 number that I saw on TV, billboards, heard on the radio, everything for about a week. Now, you really don't realize just how saturated our lives are with these things until you seek them out. But I have my list, spanning the front and back with 3 sheets of legal paper. And I spent a couple days hidden from my parents, calling, giving out our home address, and requesting information to be sent to us from hundreds of different companies across every different kind of business that spent money on advertising themselves. Now, my parents never suspected the truth, or if they did, I commend their patience and restraint. Now, I thought it was hilarious to see our mailbox drinking from the fire hose of advertisement. But the point of this story is that while my shyness prevented me from achieving prank call success, I had found a way to be successful in a completely different way. Now, I want to encourage you, to empower you, and to show you ways that you can overcome the greatest obstacle that you are going to face in your career: you. As data practitioners, we're artists. Our medium of Tableau gives us the ability to paint a picture and deliver a story. It's a constantly changing and improving tool that we can use to make an impact and be successful. But while the tools we use may change, the problems we face rarely do. So it's our responsibility to create things that educate and inspire people, and to do so with the highest moral character. Now, I've heard some people say that they didn't produce anything on a given day because they just didn't feel it. And it makes me wonder if you really need to feel something before you can get up and get started on it. Now, whether the thing you're trying to produce is a dashboard, a blog post, a song, a photograph, a painting, or whatever else, it doesn't matter. We're all creators in one way or another. And there's a lot that can lead to this sort of emotional rut where we feel like we've hit some sort of creative plateau, and we just can't seem to find the inspiration or the creativity that we used to be able to tap into. And I get it. I really do. It can be incredibly frustrating. You've worked so hard at honing your skill and developing your own approach, and you've seen your portfolio grow from things that you would now shake your head at to work that you're actually pretty proud of. And it's taken hard work and the humility to ask questions along the way. And all you want is for as many eyeballs as possible to look at that work, to affirm what you're doing, and to tell you that, yes, you are on the right track. To communicate to you that, yes, you're doing a good job. And if that motivates you, if that drives you to produce more, to research more, to find new ways of giving back to this amazing community or helping other people, then I think that's fantastic. But if that gives you anxiety, if the notion of that kind of exposure causes sleepless nights, then you might need to take a step back and reassess your approach. Perhaps it's a connection that you're hoping for. Maybe you think, if I can just get my work in front of Alberto Cairo or Nate Silver or Steve Dunes, or if I just find the perfect data set to visualize, then that mystery benefactor or hiring manager will see your talent and your ambition and your skills, and will throw time or energy or money at you and make you successful on your behalf. But I don't know if that's ever how things actually work out. It certainly hasn't happened to me, and I don't know of anyone, even anecdotally, that has happened for. It's not really a reasonable expectation of how things work. And if you spend your mental energy worried about how to make that happen, I think you'd be ultimately disappointed by the return on your mental investment. Now, I'm not saying this to dampen your spirits. I just think that it's important to understand that success often takes time and intentionality. This is a journey that takes time, so don't expect it to happen overnight. Now, this isn't to discount the effect of pure luck or happenstance either. Certainly, a degree of serendipity and corresponding awareness can help make the most out of creating the right thing for the right audience at the right time. And this can happen on rare occasion, but it's not something we should rely on in order to attain success, and certainly not something that should factor into our idea of self-worth. Now, we have to put the expectation of success into context. Everyone I know who has made a success of a career in data visualization or data analysis or any other kind of creative art did so because of hours and days and years of patience and hard work and putting themselves out there. That may be the only reasonable way that we can expect to achieve this idea of success. Now, to others, it might look like you've got it easy, but some of the most successful people I know put years into becoming an overnight success. For those of you who don't know me, I started my career in data a few years ago with the state of Minnesota in the Department of Administration. And I spent my days visualizing pharmaceutical sales data and leveraging Tableau's ability to quickly prototype and build out various ways of seeing and understanding our data. And at first, I was pretty happy with my bar charts and line charts. They were a bit better than the bar charts and line charts that had been used before me. But once I started engaging in this community, it didn't take long for me to realize and honestly become a little intimidated by what a vast and deep pool of talent there was out there. To name a few examples, Roddy Zakovich and his ability to combine chart types and draw focus. This viz inspired some of my first paltry attempts at using sigmoid functions to draw curved lines. Or Bridget Cogley and her amazing eye for color. Looking at this dashboard always feels like I'm giving my eyes a really nice warm hug. Just love it. Johnny Walker and his stunning eye for layout and design. And his passion for nature and wildlife is a key part of his personal brand. Or Kelly Martin and her unique ability to blend art and analysis. Coming from the world of demography and public service, she has nearly 20 years of experience analyzing and visualizing data. Or Noah Salvatierra and his ability to fuel art with mathematics. If there were a clean-shaven Gandalf of Tableau, it would probably be Noah. Or Chantilly Jagannath and her prolific ability to see the story in data. Her award-winning work and drive to create is a huge inspiration to me. And she recently launched a nonprofit called Millennials in Data, aimed at mentoring and preparing millennials to enter a data-driven global environment. Now, we all define success differently. And it's crucial that we calibrate the expectations for the long term and the anxiety that it must happen now so that we can enjoy the ride and grow from each experience we have along the way. Now, this is an easy concept to see in my kids. I have 5-year-old twin sons, and while Zach is perfectly content to try new things, Nick will get really frustrated if he can't master something immediately. Penmanship and writing are the skills that we're currently working on, and Nick would often want to quit right away, and this persisted until I was able to show him the difference that patience and practice can make. And once I showed him the progress he had made, it no longer mattered to him that his writing wasn't as neat as somebody else's. What mattered to him was that he could see how far he had come, and that journey became his motivation rather than reaching the end goal. Now, for me personally, I initially felt that the difference between the work that I was producing and that of the people that I mentioned before was too great to overcome. In a way, I questioned my ability to add anything of value to a community already so flush with ideas and creativity. In Stephen Pressfield's book, The War of Art, he talks about resistances, which he defines as anything that keeps us from creating. Those little voices that are always there whispering that it can wait for another day, a day which, if we're honest with ourselves, might never come. Now, in my case, this feeling of inferiority and imposter syndrome was my greatest resistance at first. The idea that if I can't produce content and visualizations on par with those of who I consider to be successful practitioners, then maybe it's just not a career path I have the talent for. Looking back, it sounds silly and naive when I say it out loud, but the truth is that the perfectionist in me can wreak havoc on new skills. Photographer Sean Tucker describes the crippling side of perfectionism like this. I don't want to start anything unless I know it's going to be perfect, but I also know that nothing I ever do will be perfect, so I never want to start anything. Now, one way that I try to combat this resistance is by thinking of my projects and deliverables as drafts along the path of creativity that will span my entire life. At the end of the day, done is better than perfect. Now, by having the willingness to put my work out there at the best quality that I'm capable of at the moment, I'm pushing myself and my skill just that extra little bit further. This way, if I never achieve the level of innovation or skill that these paragons of data visualization have, I've still succeeded. I've produced the best work that I'm capable of, and the quality of that work will have continued to grow and develop and strengthen over the course of my whole career. And the evidence of my patience and practice will be the journey that I've been on. Now, another resistance that I face that I think many of us do is the fear of ridicule or judgment, or for the gaps in my skill set to be found out. But the truth is that we all have knowledge gaps. And I think that by admitting them and being willing to seek the expertise from those who do have that knowledge, we grow as both individuals and as a community. And the Tableau community is exceptional in this regard. There really is a pervasive attitude of support and encouragement, and it's fantastic to feel like you're a part of the community, whether that's through the Tableau forums or on social media at the Tableau conference or through meetups like the Tableau user groups. If the pain of rejection is acute, then the pain of regret is chronic. So just give it a try. Even if it makes you feel like the simplest of beginners, try, because there are plenty of people who won't ever start because they don't want to be seen starting at the bottom. Last year, I was on my way into work on a Monday morning when my wife called me and told me about a mass shooting that had taken place the night before at Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas. And she was concerned in part because the Tableau conference I was scheduled to attend the following week was being hosted right there at Mandalay Bay. And when I got to work, I began searching around online through the Tableau forums and social media and conversations with other people I knew were planning to attend. And there was concern about safety, as well as a feeling of unease about coming together and celebrating in lieu of such a tragedy. And so in an attempt to encourage others and to leverage the fact that so many of us were coming to town, I decided to float the idea out to a few Tableau users that I followed on Twitter, that maybe we could organize a group of people to donate blood or volunteer or donate or something while we were all in town. And within a day, I had received feedback and questions from people all across the United States and in a couple other countries as well. Now, up to this point, the biggest thing I had ever organized had been a bake sale. So this was way out of my comfort zone. But my personality dictated that I commit to it 100%. And hashtag Data17 donates became a thing. And the conference to me now had a purpose. as a community, the family of Tableau users jumped at the opportunity to rally together and to make a difference. And I got some early volunteers to help me spread the word. Steve Fenn, Kathy Bridges, and Brian Graves in particular. And I talked to folks at the Tableau Foundation, and they agreed to match any donations made during the conference, which was huge. They talked to their corporate partners, and 15 of them also agreed to match donations. So what started as a simple idea, catalyzed by a community of people who wanted to make a difference, became a driving force that raised $120,536 in just 4 days, all of which was donated to the victims and the families affected by the shooting through the National Compassion Fund. And Tableau also made some last-minute changes to their schedule lineup, and we were able to host a vigil on one of the nights where anyone was welcome to come and talk about what happened and to have a moment to grieve and to recognize those who had been victims of the event leading up to the conference. It was an incredibly moving experience and a pivotal moment in my journey. And my personal definition of what it means to be successful changed that week. Now, I may never have thousands of followers or millions of views or fans across the world, but the little bit of ambition that it took me to put myself out there in the community and engage despite my resistances made a difference, and I have to call that a success. If my one little idea and the willingness to run with it can cascade into a force for change like that, just imagine what you're capable of. Martin Luther King Jr. said, if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving. Now, the length of our journey can be overwhelming when you're first getting started, and the path to success may seem insurmountable. But if you can take the risk and put yourself out there and be vulnerable and humble, then that journey can begin to move forward. You can make a difference, and it's easier than you might think. Set small goals. Start a conversation with somebody new, or ask a question on the Tableau forums, or see if anyone has any fun data sets that they've found. Invite a friend to a Tableau user group. Reach out to somebody whose work you admire and thank them for simply having the courage to put themselves out there. And it doesn't have to be a big thing. We all started somewhere. And for the very small amount of risk that you might face, the reward can be huge. But if you begin to feel that maybe it's just not worth trying, or you couldn't possibly make a difference, get up and do it anyway. Thanks for listening, guys. Feel free to reach out to me anytime.
Vince, thank you so much. That was absolutely fantastic. Very inspiring. I clearly remember seeing you at the conference, and just this look that you had of I'm helping so much here. And it was good to know that, we could help too. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it really was something that became successful because of the willingness of everybody who wanted to be a part of something good like that.
Excellent, excellent. Now, Vince, if you would be really helpful and stay and pretty much chat up on our chat group here, chat up folks, because I know folks are going to have questions, but we've also got to keep things moving here at TFF.
Yeah.
That was awesome. I know so many people are really inspired. So everyone, thank you so much, Vince. Please feel free to actually get in touch with them too. I know you're so active in the community, so thanks.
Thank you, Caesar. I appreciate all the hard work you guys are putting into this. It's awesome.
All right, so I am going to go through and introduce our next speaker. And our next speaker is she's Siobhan Odom.